Shalom and welcome to Neshama Cast, exploring Jewish spiritual care today. Brought to you by Neshama, Association of Jewish Chaplains. I'm your host, Rabbi Ed Bernstein. We are recording this emergency episode of Neshama Cast on October 9th, 2023. We are 3 days into the crisis since the horrific invasion of Israel on Shabbat and the Shmini Atzeret Simchat Torah holiday by Hamas terrorists from the Gaza Strip who have murdered hundreds of Israelis, injured thousands, and abducted dozens of hostages into Gaza. Israel has not experienced a crisis of this magnitude since the Yom Kippur War, exactly 50 years ago. Now, Neshama Cast is not a program of news and analysis. We'll leave that to other outlets. The purpose of this program is to profile the different ways in which Jewish chaplains from Neshama, Association of Jewish Chaplains, provide spiritual care in multiple settings. It was our intent to invite our colleague, Rabbi Valerie of Jerusalem, to discuss her path-breaking role in helping to establish the profession of Livui Ruchani, or chaplaincy, in Israel. That fuller conversation will have to wait. However, I am grateful that Rabbi Stessen has taken time in the midst of this crisis to update us on the situation from her perspective. Rabbi Stessen is the director of Kashuvot, the Center for Spiritual Care in Israel. She makes her home in Jerusalem. Rabbi Valerie Stessen, welcome to Neshama Cast, and thank you for taking the time on this difficult day.
Thank you, Rabbi Bernstein, and thank you to all my colleagues, to all the people who are, as I'm sure, all praying and just wishing for the best for all Israelis, and especially for people who were wounded and lose people during this awful war.
We'll talk about the broader scope of the situation, but our colleagues and I are anxious to know how you are doing and your closest dear ones at this time.
Thanks. So as you know, I saw someone on Facebook answering to someone else, we are safe, but we're not okay. And I think it's really, in a short way, it's the way it is. My closest people, closest family, my parents are in Tel Aviv, in and out of the safe, if it can be called a safe place, of the stairs, because most of the people, they live on the third floor so most of the people go to the stair room and not to a place which is really, really safe. So my parents are there. My daughter, Oriana, the youngest one, was called on duty already on Shabbat morning. We were in Jerusalem. We were awakened by the siren at something like 8:30. Of course, we were not the first one, and it was much earlier and much harder in the south and close to the frontier. But in Jerusalem, it was surprising because it's really, really rare that we have this kind of alerts in Jerusalem. So, the first reaction was, okay, is it real? Maybe something just doesn't work, but quite quickly we understood what's happening, and we opened the phones and we checked what's happening in the news. So already at noon she was called, and with other people who were called on Miluim, on reserves. She went to the north. She's now on the northern frontier in Rosh Hanikah, and many people were called to this area because of the fear that something will happen from the north and from Lebanon and Hezbollah, and so she's there with many other people, new young people and other people that we know here around. Altogether, we are mostly worried by the situation, especially all the things that happened in the south. I mean, the trauma is really at a level that it's difficult to describe. It's difficult to describe the pain of people who are now looking for the young people who were at this party near the frontier, near Kibbutz Re'im, all the people who were abducted, and we just begin. I think even if it's the third day, it takes time to really understand the shock, the surprise. It's something that no one imagines that it will happen this way. I mean, no one imagines that we will be caught in by such surprise and with such a harsh level of numbers of people who were murdered and just the lists, like everyone, all our colleagues and the spiritual caregivers, I think, are also, it takes some time. Yesterday I had a meeting with all the association of spiritual care in Israel, which is the parallel of Neshama in Israel. And, on one way, we try to think about how we can be helpful and where it will be more helpful to try to volunteer and to go and to help. And on the other time, it was so quick, so sudden that it takes time to understand. Yesterday was mostly a day of chaos. People were moved from the southern kibbutzim and moshavim and all the places which were hurt, and so people who were moved to other places, to the Dead Sea, to the north, to other kibbutzim. It's still really difficult to find what are the best ways to help, but we already have chaplains who went to nursing homes, to hospitals where there are usually either students who were last year doing their clinical time in a geriatric hospital in Petah Tikva, and we were in touch with those places, and they right away say that they need people, even if the people there are not the wounded, if they are the usual people who are staying there, most of them old people, weak people, and all of them are saying that they need the help.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what is the situation like in the hospitals? Are there a lot of injured people there?
Yeah, a lot in the south, and there I admit that I also, I sent mails and messages to say that we are here and we are ready to come and help. But I understand that also the first hours and days, as are very busy with all the urgent needs. As I'm sure you saw, all the issues of families who are looking for dear ones who disappeared, or all this is just beginning to get organized. So it's, as are many individual initiatives, WhatsApp groups. We joined as we are trying to send the information to all of our alumni and students, or to give them opportunities. Some people are joining some psychologist organizations who are, just suggesting people to just be in touch, and if they want, and then they match people with a psychologist or any other kind of caregiver with so it's clear that spiritual caregivers are accepted in those places and needed. We still need to find, let's say, a more organized way, I think, to bring our support and to suggest our support. But for now, it's a mess. I mean, no one was ready, even if Israel is usually quite prepared to kind of, difficult events like this. It seems like this was much, much more than what we are able now to organize so quickly.
Yeah, and as we're recording, as I said at the outset, we're still in the very early stages of this. We don't know the full extent of the losses or the casualties, and we don't know the full extent of what kind of infrastructure will need to be built to support the nation grieving at this time. But I'm wondering, since you're on the ground in the field of spiritual care, what are your first thoughts as to what will be put in place, or what do you hope to put into place to support the people of Israel at this time?
Yeah, so first it's very early, but it's not something new. It's just something which is maybe which needs to be more available for everyone. I think grieving support groups for grieving people will be something that we will need to really to be able to give those opportunities to all the people who need. It's for sure some people are the closest circles of people who lose someone, but Israel is so small and people are so close to each other, and the feeling is that all the country is in a grief process now. So I think there will be a huge need of grief counseling and support groups for people who are grieving, and to accompany people in those processes, because it will take time, and it will be at various levels, and people who have various difficulties as illness and aging, and the trauma of what happens now. I think they will need a lot of support, a lot of presence, and we will have to be able to give, professional and serious help to many places, nursing homes, hospitals, but even just congregations, either religious congregations or just any village or places like this, where usually there are some professionals, and some we really need and want it will go to some psychological counseling, but it's not something which is so easily available to everyone. And I think we really will have to think about how we try to slowly heal so many groups, so many people in this country.
I have no doubt that your colleagues in Neshama are all praying fervently for Israel's well-being now. The Jewish communities in the diaspora have all launched emergency fundraising campaigns. Are you able to describe any other ways in which we, outside of Israel, can support the effort of Jewish spiritual care, livui, ruchani, in Israel at this time?
Especially when something like this happens, I feel that, many of my colleagues in Neshama, I think, already heard my, my anima, my vision, and I really think that our goal is not modest, but our goal is to get to a point where everyone, when he's in needs, when he wants, can find spiritual care where he is, if it's in an hospital, if it's in a nursing home, if it's any other framework where people in need can be, and we know all those different situations, any crisis when people need spiritual care. So when something like this happens, on one way, I feel, okay, I'm so sad that we still are not enough implemented in all those places. But on the other way, I know that we have many people now who are certified and who are able to do it. And I know that we have more and more connections with different places where we can at least try to be present and try to support. My dream is that it will be something that is more organized, and that there is a chaplain in every place, and we don't need to try to invent the wheel and to look for how we can implement and bring someone for at least for a while. So I think everything that can help us, to move towards this goal, to be really part of all the professional staff who are dealing and taking care for the body, but also for the nefesh, also for the soul. Everything can be helpful. We'll be glad, to learn from your experience in grieving counseling, which is something which is less developed in Israel. And I think we will be very glad, to get any support. As always, we also need the means to be able to organize projects and to give to these different frameworks as much as possible services for free or for a symbolic sum. So all the help that can be gathered, if it's wisdom, if it's your support, if it's counseling or connections or fundraising, all of these can be helpful to develop spiritual care and to help us trying to do the work that will be hard and will have to be done here to try to repair a little bit of what has been destroyed.
Yes, we are with you in spirit, and as time moves forward, I'm sure there will be concrete ways developed in which Jewish chaplains around the world will be there to help you in your holy work. Before we conclude, I'm wondering if you have any other message at this time for your colleagues and friends around the world.
First, I really want to thank you because I think your wishes, your prayers, your presence are for us as spiritual caregivers in Israel, knowing we are a small group and a group of chalutzim, of pioneers who are still a little bit outsiders, and it's great support to know that you are there, that you are thinking about us, and that so you have this great that we have this support and that you are there for us. I know that you're worried. I know that you're following what's happening, and I really hope that you will also find the ways to be able to be supportive in any ways that you can. I know that it's hard to be far. I mean, it's hard to be far. It's hard because I know that all of you are very much connected to Israel, to the Israeli people, to what's happening here, and I can understand how hard it is to be so far, to see what's happening, to listen to those people, the witnesses and people telling what they went through. And I can imagine that it can be very frustrating, but I hope you understand that your support and all the asbara would be
Explanation, yeah.
explanations to people who are around you. Some of them don't know Israel, some of them don't know what it means to live in the reality where we live, and I don't have any political message in this, but I just think that it's important for people to try to understand and to try to imagine what's happening here. So I think your role is also important on this level in being some representatives of what we are living here and the reality here, and try to explain it around you.
I'm amazed that at a time where I, along with other colleagues outside of Israel, are trying to offer you support, you found within you the empathy to offer support for me and many of our colleagues who feel helpless outside of Israel in offering support. So let us just pledge to support one another going forward. And this is going to be a challenging time, but together we will make it through. Rabbi Valerie Stessen, thank you for taking time on short notice on this dark day to have this conversation. Chizki ve'imtzi, may you have the strength and courage to support our brothers and sisters in Israel, and of course take care of yourself and your family as well. We as chaplains know the importance of self-care, taking care of ourselves so that we can then help others. May we soon be blessed with peace.
Thank you very much. And תודה רבה. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
Amen. May God bless our people with strength and peace.
Shalom. This is Rabbi Joe Ozorowski, president of N.A.J.C. Neshama, the Association of Jewish Chaplains. All of us, I'm sure, have been affected in one way or another by the news that we have heard from Israel over the past few days, or by the time you hear this, maybe the past few weeks, and wondering how to face the challenges that accompany us and that we face in the future. I'd like to frame this in the form of a very short Dvar Torah, so short that the Dvar Torah is only about one letter, not a word, not a pasuk, not a verse, not a paragraph, one letter. We recently began the reading of Sefer Bereshit, the book of Genesis, in synagogues all over the world as part of the Torah reading cycle. And the question is often asked, why does Bereshit begin with the letter Bet, which is the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and not an Aleph, which is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet? Many answers are given, but the one that I like the most is that the letter Bet is formed by 3 lines connected to each other with an open side on the that Hebrew is read from right to left. The fourth side, the left-hand side of the letter, is the side that moves forward. And the lesson that we have from this is that when we live in this world, we can't go backwards. We often can't go up and down. We can only move forward. Since the events of the past week, the incursion into sovereign Israel from Hamas in Gaza, we can't go back to the world that we had before. Things have changed dramatically. And we don't even know where forward is going to lead us at this point. All we can do is ask for prayer and offer wishes for our brothers and sisters in Israel, for ourselves as well as we move forward. And in that sense, in the name of N.A.J.C, I offer our condolences to those of our people in Israel who have lost loved ones in the battles of the past 2 days. We offer our wishes of refuah shlema, of complete healing for those who are injured, and our prayers for a speedy reunion of those who were abducted and kidnapped by Hamas with their loved ones. But the wishes aren't only for people who live in Israel. For those of us in N.A.J.C who live in other countries, the U.S., Canada, and other places, I think we're facing challenges as well for which we need blessings and strength from each other. As chaplains, we are often called upon to offer that type of support in dealing with illness and loss. But for those of us operating, whether it's in the Jewish community or beyond, or even just among ourselves, we are called upon to offer that type of support. And so, through N.A.J.C and in the name of N.A.J.C, we offer those blessings to all of you who are called upon to offer that type of support for our colleagues, for our friends, for our families, whether we've been directly affected by the events, indirectly affected, or just simply by watching the news. How can we not be affected? So my blessings and prayers for all of you is that we have the strength to take care of each other, take care of our staff members, our clients, our patients, and ourselves as well. May the Holy One above answer those prayers and offer us the blessings in the future of peace. Thank you very much.